Hello ladies, there is a power that walks into the room before you do. A light that lingers long after you've gone. It is not stitched into your dress or tucked into your lipstick. It is the fire in your belly and the grace in your stride. It is the truth of your soul whispering loudly in a world that forgot how to listen. Now lean in, sister. Let me tell you something not everyone will say out loud. You are not just seen, you are felt. And when a woman carries herself with depth and dignity, the world cannot help but notice. This kind of beauty cannot be blurred by time or silence. It breathes in the way you say no without apology, and yes with your whole heart. It lives in your laughter when you forget who is watching. You are not just a face in the crowd, you are a force. There are signs that you are a woman of rare fire and true allure. You know yourself. Not just your name, but your worth. And you do not beg people to remember it. You show up fully. You speak without shrinking. You are kind without bending backward to be liked. That is the first sign. A woman who stands in her skin with ease is impossible to ignore. Then comes the way you walk. Not just your steps, but your direction. You walk with purpose. You know where you are going, even if the road is still unfolding. That kind of focus is magnetic. People want to follow a woman who leads her own life. There is something undeniably magnetic about a woman who walks into a room and does not seek to be seen but still is. She does not beg for approval or shrink herself for applause. She knows who she is. She radiates confidence not because the world told her she was enough, but because she decided that she was. That kind of power cannot be bought. It cannot be borrowed. It is earned through quiet battles and long nights of choosing growth over comfort. When a woman walks with her shoulders back and her spirit high, you know it. You feel it. Her confidence is not a performance. It is a reflection of her inner peace. She is not trying to convince the world of her worth. She already believes it. And when you believe in your own worth, deeply and without condition, it changes how you move through life. She does not enter a room looking for mirrors. She does not scan faces for signs of acceptance. She does not wait for someone to confirm her beauty, her voice, her mind. She has done the work within. She knows that the glow on her skin comes from the fire in her soul. That fire cannot be touched by trends or the fleeting praise of others. This kind of woman is dangerous to the shallow and healing to the broken. She is not easily shaken because her roots run deep. She has failed, yes. She has fallen, yes, but she has always stood back up with more wisdom and less fear. Her confidence is carved from every challenge she has faced, not from compliments or likes or labels. It lives in her because she built it brick by brick. And when she speaks, she does not shout to be heard. She does not fight for space. She simply claims it. Her words are grounded. Her presence is full. She listens without insecurity and speaks without ego. She knows she has nothing to prove and everything to offer. That calm certainty draws people in like gravity. They don't always understand it, but they feel it. She does not rely on beauty alone, though she may have it. Her true attraction comes from her ability to stand alone without fear, to laugh without pretense, to leave when she is not valued, to stay when it is right. She has learned that her peace is her power and her time is sacred, so she guards both with care. This woman has walked away from things that once tried to break her. She has looked in the mirror on hard days and chosen love over judgment. She has stopped comparing her journey to others because she understands now that her path is hers alone. She is not in a race. She is in alignment. And that more than anything makes her unstoppable. People often wonder what it is, what makes her so compelling. It is not her clothes or her voice or even her smile. It is the way she moves without needing anyone to watch. It is the way she walks into her own life with ownership and pride. That kind of woman cannot be forgotten. She does not fade in memory. She leaves an impression because she is not afraid to take up space. Even in silence, she speaks volumes. She carries her story in her bones and her lessons in her eyes. And she does not try to rewrite herself to please others. She honors her truth, even when it is messy, even when it is misunderstood, because she knows that true confidence is not about perfection. It is about presence. But when you see a woman like this, know that she did not wake up and stumble into confidence. She earned it. She fought for it. She chose it. Every day, in the small moments when no one was looking. That kind of woman is rare. That kind of woman is unforgettable. And if you are that woman, or on your way to becoming her, hold your head high. You are already more powerful than you know. There is a quiet strength in a woman who knows how to say no without guilt and yes without fear. A woman who sets her boundaries not as walls but as gates, protecting her peace, her energy, her time. She does not scream to be heard. She does not need to raise her voice to be respected. Her presence speaks for her. Her standards are clear, not because she wants to be difficult, but because she has learned that not everyone deserves access to her heart, her thoughts, or her space. To set a boundary is to honor yourself. And a highly attractive woman does just that, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. She has spent enough time ignoring her own needs, bending herself into shapes for the comfort of others, stretching her spirit thin trying to please people who never offered the same in return. But not anymore. Now, she chooses herself, and in doing so she teaches the world how to treat her. This woman knows that true strength does not lie in how much you can tolerate, but in how much you can walk away from. She will no longer entertain conversations that drain her, relationships that belittle her, or situations that confuse her. She understands that clarity is kindness, both to others and to herself. So she draws the line, gently but firmly, and she does not apologize for protecting her own light. What makes her even more magnetic is that she does it all with grace. There's no bitterness in her voice, no anger in her tone. She does not need to be cold to be clear. She speaks with calm, and people listen, because they know she means what she says. Her boundaries are not threats, they are truths. She is not afraid to disappoint others if it means being true to herself. She no longer sacrifices her well-being for temporary approval, because she has learned that when you abandon yourself to keep others happy, the cost is always too high. She chooses honesty over comfort, authenticity over approval. That courage, that clarity is what makes her unforgettable. She does not stay where she is tolerated. She goes where she is celebrated. And she makes it known that access to her is a privilege, not a right. That's not arrogance, that's self-awareness. She's not trying to be superior, she's just not willing to be small anymore. Her energy is valuable, her time is limited, her heart is not for everyone, and that is okay. People might say she's changed, and maybe she has. Maybe she has finally outgrown the version of herself that accepted less than she deserved. Maybe she has learned the beauty of silence, the power of distance, and the peace of walking away when her soul feels unsettled. That kind of growth is not always loud, but it is always radiant. A woman who sets boundaries with grace is not hard to love. She just won't settle for a love that is unsure. She's not cold. She's clear. She's not distant, she's discerning. She is not mean, she is measured. And because of that, the right people respect her even more. They do not try to cross the line, they honor it. What makes her shine is that she has turned the word no into an act of self-care. She no longer needs to explain herself to everyone. She knows that peace does not need to be defended, it simply needs to be protected. And she has become its protector. She knows that emotional boundaries are not just about keeping others out, they're about keeping herself whole. She has learned to say, this is not for me without guilt. To say, I need space without shame. And in doing so, she gives others permission to do the same. Her strength becomes a mirror, reflecting back to others what is possible when we choose ourselves. So if you see her walking away from something, don't mistake it for weakness. That is the walk of a woman who trusts her intuition more than she fears rejection. She is not being selfish, she is being sovereign. She is not pushing people away, she is pulling herself back in. And that, more than anything, is what makes her glow. There is something powerful about a woman who walks into a space and does not have to announce herself. The room shifts, not because she demands it, but because she is it. Her presence is felt before her words are spoken. It is not her clothes, not her smile, not even her posture that holds the room. It's the calm confidence, the quiet authority, the unwavering sense of self she carries. She does not ask for permission to belong. He already knows she does. You see, when a woman commands respect before she speaks, it is because she carries herself with intentionality. She does not perform. She does not seek to impress. She simply is. She knows who she is, and she honors herself deeply. That kind of woman doesn't chase attention. Attention naturally finds her, because her energy is aligned with truth. She does not lower her voice to make others comfortable, nor does she raise it to be heard. She speaks from a grounded place, and in that stillness she is powerful. Her aura says, I've been through storms, and I made them sacred. Her energy is not loud, it is steady, and that steadiness is what commands the room. She has nothing to prove, no roles to play. She knows her value, and she shows it in the way she listens, the way she walks, the way she simply exists. Her silence can say more than empty noise ever could. There is a beauty in this kind of restraint. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't overpower. She allows others to speak, but does not let them override her truth. She watches. She observes. And when she chooses to speak, people listen. Because she does not waste her words. She does not need to convince you she is intelligent, kind, or powerful. You feel it before you ever hear it. And what makes her even more attractive is the way she carries her past, not like baggage, but like armor she no longer needs. She has done the inner work. She knows her triggers. She knows her worth. She knows how to walk away without making a scene, and how to stay without losing herself. Her presence does not beg. It declares. And that declaration is subtle, but unshakable. You might not even realize it at first, but when she leaves the room, something lingers. Her scent, her energy, her calm. People talk about her not because she performed, but because she revealed something rare. A woman at home in herself. That kind of presence cannot be faked. It cannot be taught in a seminar or copied from a screen. It is earned, grown, cultivated through quiet choices and brave healing. She does not dress to impress, she dresses to express. She does not move to attract, she moves to connect. And she connects deeply, not with everyone, but with those who see beyond surface things, those who value substance over spectacle. With them, she is magnetic, because her soul is honest and her presence feels safe. And when she loves from that same deep place, not for validation, but from overflow. It's in the way she sets her gaze, not judging, just knowing. The way she holds herself, not rigid, but rooted. She is not easily shaken because she has stood in her own storm and found shelter inside. When you meet her, you can sense the work she's done. You can sense the peace she protects. That is why people show her respect without needing to be told. She walks with integrity, and that demands something higher from those around her. Even those who misunderstand her feel the difference, because a woman like this does not play small. She does not dim her light to make others shine brighter. She shines with them or walks away. Not out of pride, but because she has outgrown the need to be accepted by anyone who cannot meet her with truth. She does not need validation, she creates it. Not just for herself, but for other women too. Her presence gives others permission to show up more fully, more boldly. She makes people want to be better, not by force, but by example. That's what true presence does. It elevates the room without demanding the spotlight. A woman, rooted, whole, radiant in silence, doesn't have to ask for respect. She is respect. There's a quiet beauty in a woman who celebrates other women with her whole heart. She sees their shine and doesn't flinch. She claps for their success even when she's still finding her way. She smiles at their joy, not because her life is perfect, but because she understands that another woman's light does not dim her own. That kind of woman is rare, and that kind of woman is deeply attractive. She does not compete. She connects. She does not envy. She empowers. She has discovered the secret that so many still struggle to see, that lifting another woman up is not weakness, and it is not a threat to your own strength. In fact, it's the sign of true confidence. Only someone who is secure within can genuinely applaud someone else's rise. And she does it naturally. There's no bitterness in her when she sees another woman bloom. No whispering behind backs, no passive comparison. No secret keeping. She shares opportunities, she gives credit, she makes room, because she knows that real women build each other. They do not tear, they do not compete, and they do not shrink in each other's presence. This kind of woman has done her inner work. She's confronted her own insecurities, sat with them, healed them. She knows how jealousy feels. She's felt it, but she chose not to let it grow. She chose instead to transform it into inspiration. When she sees a woman walking in her purpose, glowing in her calling, she says to herself, if she can, I can too. And that mindset? That's powerful. That's liberating. That's beautiful. There's a warmth to her. When she enters a room, other women don't feel threatened. They feel safe. Safe to speak. Safe to be real. Safe to let their guard down. She doesn't play games or chase status. She values authenticity. She's not afraid to give a compliment. She does not withhold kindness out of pride. If you look beautiful, she tells you. If your work is powerful, she says so. If your spirit inspires her, she lets you know. Her words uplift. Her presence affirms. People often underestimate how rare this kind of energy is. But when you meet a woman like this, you don't forget her. She becomes the sister you didn't know you needed. The friend you always wished for. The reminder that you can be strong and soft. That you can shine and share the spotlight. She's not perfect, and she doesn't pretend to be, but she is honest. And honesty, wrapped in love, is a powerful thing. When other women rise, she does not feel left behind. She doesn't ask, why not me? She asks, how can I learn? And when it's her turn to rise, she does so without guilt, because she knows she earned it, and she's pulled others up along the way. There's no need for her to gossip, no need to compare. She doesn't sit around waiting for someone to fall so she can feel taller. Her self-worth is rooted too deeply for that. She walks tall, but not above others. She walks beside them, and her walk makes others want to walk taller too. You can trust a woman like this, with your dreams, with your fears, with your true self, because she listens without judgment and speaks without tearing you down. She wants you to win, not just in front of her, but even when she's not in the room. She has learned the value of sisterhood, and she protects it fiercely. She is the kind of woman who believes that another woman's beauty is not competition. It's confirmation that there's space for all of us to shine. That kind of heart changes the energy in every room it enters. That kind of heart is unforgettable. So if you are her, or becoming her, keep going. In a world that teaches women to compete, your grace is a revolution. A woman who embraces her individuality does not wait for the world to approve of who she is. She wakes up every day and chooses to walk her own path, even when it is not the easiest one. She knows her rhythm may not match the crowd, and that's exactly why she honors it. Her power lies not in how many follow her, but in how deeply she follows herself. She does not need to be told what's beautiful. She defines it for herself. She wears what makes her feel alive. She speaks in her own tone, laughs in her own cadence, and lives by her own values. She doesn't dress for attention. She dresses for expression. She doesn't speak to impress. She speaks to connect. And even if the world tells her she's too much, or too little, or too different, she keeps walking because she has learned that true beauty never asks for permission. This kind of woman does not chase trends, whether in fashion, opinions, or lifestyle. She knows what fits her and what doesn't, not just in clothes, but in friendships, in choices, in environments. She does not try to fit into spaces where she feels small. She creates her own space. And she decorates that space with her essence, not borrowed versions of someone else's. She has accepted her flaws, not because she thinks they make her better than others, but because they make her real. She does not hide her scars or silence her story. She speaks with the courage of someone who has been through pain and come out wiser. And her wisdom isn't loud, it's lived. When you talk to her, you know she's been through something. You can feel her truth. It lives in her eyes, in her stillness, in the way she doesn't flinch when others try to put her in a box. She doesn't need everyone to agree with her. She doesn't need to be understood by people who were never meant to understand her. She's not here to be a mirror for other people's expectations. She's here to be a window, clear, open, and true. And through that window, people see a woman who is not afraid to be different, not afraid to stand alone if necessary. That independence, that ownership of self is magnetic. People may not always understand her, but they are drawn to her. Because she is real in a world that often rewards imitation. She does not perform for acceptance. She simply shows up, whole, unfiltered, and fully herself. That presence is felt, that energy is rare, and that kind of self-trust is deeply attractive. She's not afraid to question things, not afraid to say this path isn't mine, even if everyone else is walking it. She turns down offers that don't align with her values. She walks away from relationships that ask her to change the very core of who she is. She doesn't confuse compromise with sacrifice. She knows that peace is the result of living in truth, not in pleasing others. She honors her pace. She doesn't rush just because others are moving faster. She doesn't measure her success by comparison. She knows that the best things in life take time, and that growth is not always visible. Some days, her strength is in showing up. Other days, it's in choosing rest. But every day, she chooses herself. And when she's around other people, she doesn't become someone else. She doesn't water herself down or put on a version of herself that's easier to accept. She knows that real connection only happens when you are real. So she offers her true self, gently but unapologetically. And in doing so, she gives others permission to do the same. A woman who walks her own path becomes a light for others. Not because she's trying to lead, but because her authenticity inspires others to stop hiding. She becomes a mirror for courage, a reminder that freedom doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from finally showing up as you. That is what makes her deeply attractive. Not the way she follows the world, but the way she listens to her soul and lets that voice guide her forward. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who knows how to hold herself steady in the middle of chaos. A woman who doesn't let every emotion spill over or every situation shake her center. She may feel deeply, oh she does, but she has mastered the art of emotional maturity. Her reactions are not explosions. They are responses born from awareness, from growth, from wisdom. That kind of composure is not coldness, it's strength. And that strength is magnetic. She has learned that emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. She listens to them, honors them, but does not let them drive her life. She's been through enough to understand that not every battle is worth fighting and not every opinion is worth answering. She doesn't lash out to prove a point or fall apart just to be seen. She speaks when it matters. She walks away when it doesn't. That kind of self-control is rare, and it makes her unforgettable. Now she's convinced that what is handsome is also impossible. You will notice it in the way she carries herself in conflict. She doesn't yell to be heard. She listens. She doesn't insult to win. She pauses. Even when hurt, even when provoked, she chooses her words with care. Not because she is afraid to speak, but because she values peace more than drama. That doesn't mean she stays silent when silence is dangerous. It means she has learned the difference between reacting from pain and responding from clarity. There is grace in her restraint. There is beauty in the way she breathes through frustration. Not because she's weak, but because she's strong enough to stay calm. She does not let her emotions become weapons. She lets them become wisdom. And that wisdom shows up in how she handles herself, in her tone, her timing, her truth. She is not emotionless. In fact, she feels more than most, but she's done the work. She's asked herself the hard questions. She sat in silence with her anger and unpacked it. She's looked her sadness in the eye and asked what it was trying to say. She's learned to soothe her own wounds rather than bleed them onto others. That kind of inner healing cannot be faked. You feel it when she speaks. You feel it when she simply stands still. She doesn't need to slam doors or send long messages filled with regret. She knows when to speak and when to step away. She can say I'm not okay without making others responsible for her pain. And when she apologizes, she means it. When she forgives, she releases. She has let go of the need to punish others just to prove her worth. That kind of emotional freedom is rare, and it is powerful. Even in love, she remains steady. She doesn't manipulate or chase. She gives with an open hand and lets go with dignity when needed. She doesn't crumble at the first sign of distance. She checks in with herself. She respects the other person's space. She doesn't beg to be loved because she has already given herself the love she once begged for. And when she gives love, it's deep, intentional, and pure, never desperate. You can trust a woman like this with your truth. You can speak and know she won't twist your words in the heat of emotion. You can fail and know she won't weaponize it later. Her emotional maturity creates safety, and that safety is rare. It makes people feel seen, not judged. It makes them feel grounded, not controlled. She is the kind of woman who won't always agree with you, but she will always seek to understand. She won't always like what's said, but she'll respond with dignity. Her self-restraint is not about pretending. It's about choosing peace over chaos, truth over impulse, love over pride. And the most beautiful part? She's not trying to be perfect. She just wants to be present, fully here, fully grounded, fully her. That is what makes her so attractive. Not a mask of control, but the power of knowing herself so well that she no longer fears what others bring. Because whatever comes, she knows she will meet it with grace. There's something deeply powerful about a woman who knows how to love herself, not in a loud, performative way, not for applause or approval, but in a quiet, steady, unwavering way. She wakes up and chooses herself, not because she thinks she's better than anyone else, but because she finally understands that she does not have to earn love by shrinking. She does not have to prove her worth. She is worthy already. That kind of self-love is not ego, it is freedom, and it is profoundly attractive. She has learned that love is not something she has to chase. It's not something she needs to beg for. It's not found in people who only stay when it's easy. She has spent time alone, real time, getting to know herself beyond roles and titles and expectations. She has looked at her wounds and her wonders, her flaws and her fire, and decided to love them all. Because they are hers, and because hiding them never brought her peace. She loves herself by keeping her word to herself, by taking care of her body, not to look a certain way, but to feel alive, by speaking kindly to her mind, especially on the days when the world is not kind, by honoring her needs even when others don't understand them. This isn't selfishness, it's sacred. She knows now that when she is full, she can give fully, but when she is empty, she cannot pour anything out. So she refills herself first, without guilt. She no longer stays where love has to be earned through silence. She no longer begs to be seen, heard, or held. She does not chase anyone who walks away. She lets them go with grace. Because her love is not bait, it is a gift. And if someone cannot receive it with the same level of depth and presence she offers, she does not force it. She releases them, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. When she enters relationships, she brings her whole self, not a version trimmed down to fit someone else's mold. And because she is full, she does not settle. She is not afraid to be alone, so she waits for the kind of love that feels like freedom, not fear. She doesn't lose herself in others. She meets them, stands beside them, and loves from a place of overflow, not from hunger. This self-love makes her magnetic. Not in a surface-level sense of beauty, but in the way she glows with wholeness. People are drawn to her not because she demands attention, but because she radiates something real, something rare, something rooted. It's not her appearance that holds you, it's her energy, her peace, her presence. She is the kind of woman who walks into a room and does not look for someone to make her feel loved, but she already carries that love inside, and when things fall apart, and they do, as life has its storms, she does not fall apart with them. She feels, yes, she grieves, yes, but she doesn't forget who she is. She doesn't forget her value, because that value is no longer tied to who stays, who praises her, or who chooses her. It's rooted in the quiet knowing that she has chosen herself. That is why she moves with ease. She speaks without fear. She gives without losing. She lets go without bitterness. She is not hard, but she is whole. Not guarded, but guided. She knows what she deserves, and she is patient enough to wait for it. She doesn't rush love. She doesn't force connections. She honors timing, trusts energy, and protects her peace. This kind of woman is a lighthouse, steady, bright, unwavering, not chasing ships, just standing tall, lit from within, offering light to those who can see it, and peace to herself when no one is near. That is the power of a woman who loves herself fully and refuses to settle for less than truth. So if you see yourself in these signs, know that it's not by accident. It's a reflection of the deep work you've done, the quiet battles you've fought, and the grace with which you continue to grow. Being a highly attractive woman is not about how you look. It's about how you live, how you walk with purpose, speak with truth, love with fullness, and stand with strength. Keep choosing yourself, keep walking in your truth, and never dim your light to make others comfortable. You are not just attractive, you are extraordinary. Thank you for listening. Stay true, stay grounded, and keep becoming the woman you were born to be. Good luck on your journey, and may your light continue to shine wherever you go.